So, the vengeance. Alright, no, I'm not saying that. Alright, so the Batman is finally in theaters after so much speculation, so much confusion, whether it would be a Ben Affleck movie or a Robert Pattinson movie. And it had some huge expectations to follow, especially because, well, I consider Batman to be the most popular superhero ever. I mean, it is up for debate as Batman does have the most superhero solo movies ever. And no, Iron Man, Captain America don't count because they had 3 solo movies each. And the Avengers don't count as a solo movie for each of those characters. So yeah, following the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, which I think is the best trilogy of all time, like not just superhero movies, I think it's the best trilogy of all time, any type of movie. So naturally, it had some very huge expectations to meet, and honestly, it meets it. It's a masterpiece. Before I start explaining why I think it's such a masterpiece and how great it was, I want to talk about the bad parts of the movie because it is a flawed movie, and every movie's like that. Not every movie is actually going to be perfect, so I do want to talk about it first. And yes, I will be getting into spoilers, so click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Alright, are they going? Alright, so first things first, one thing that just infuriated me that I needed in this movie, I was burning for it. It is the bat nipples. Where the heck are the bat nipples? Seriously, how hard is it to get some bat nipples? I've been craving for some bat nipples ever since the 80s, man. Alright, all jokes aside, let's talk about the actual flaws of the movie. So, the first one is the relationship between Catwoman and Batman. I just felt it was so rushed. All of a sudden, you get one scene where they look into each other's eyes. It's not even romantically. Batman is just trying to put these techie contact lenses into her eyes so he looks at her. And then all of a sudden, she just asks, "Hey, can you help me track down this bad guy?" And he's like, "Okay, sure." And then she just kisses him out of nowhere. And people in my cinema were actually gasping at this. I'm not sure if they were just so surprised at the fact that it just kind of came out of nowhere, or I don't know. It just felt like that. It just came out of nowhere. I just felt like there was no build up to their whole relationship, and then suddenly they're in love. Now, this could be because some scenes were probably cut out in the movie, because it is a 3 hours long movie and they probably just weren't allowed to go over, so they had to get rid of some of those scenes because it does feel like that. It does feel like it's missing some scenes where they build up the relationship. Honestly, the best portrayal I've seen of Batman and Catwoman's relationship is in the Batman Telltale games, and it is such a good game. For anyone that hasn't watched it on YouTube or played it, please play it. It is such a masterpiece. It is amazing what they do in that game. I still love that game so much. That's why I was just so saddened by the fact that Telltale just shut down. I just want more Batman. Another thing that really bothered me was the whole Ratala thing. So basically what happens in the movie is the Riddler leaves Batman and Jim Gordon a clue, and originally they think it's in Spanish, I believe, and it says, "You are the rat." And I'm not really sure what happens here. I was a bit confused, but they basically found out it was the Penguin then. So then they go on this whole car chase after Penguin, like this really amazing car chase sequence, and then they capture him and then he says, "Hey, can you guys not read properly? Like, can you guys not read Spanish? It's supposed to say like URL, not you are the rat." So I don't know. I just felt like it was a bit stupid that it was either Riddler making a typo or Batman and Jim Gordon just didn't understand it. And we know why they did it, because they wanted that awesome car chase, which means more Batmobile toys. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much the only flaws I have with the movie. Now let's actually get into why I think this movie is so great. One of the best things about the movie is how Gotham is just encapsulated here. It is perfect. It just sets out the dark tone of how much a shithole of Gotham really is. It really shows it is like you do not want to live there at all. It is a horrible place to be. And the dark tone of this movie just it just portrays it so well. Gotham is the highlight of this whole movie. Violence of this movie also is just so real, I guess. When Riddler first, like, he's just hiding behind that mayor, and then he just like hits him on the head, and he hits him just so violently. Even though you don't really get to see it and you don't see gore in this movie, it is still very scary and very real. I actually didn't look at the rating before I watched this movie, and when I watched it, I honestly thought it was MA or R rated because it was just so dark. Like, if you bring your kid to this, you're probably not going to sleep for a while because your kid is probably going to wake you up since they're having nightmares. Robert Pattinson is also great in the movie. I thought his role of Batman was just done so well. He's made Batman just look so badass. I thought it was great. Batman is just also so badass in this movie. Like, that first scene where, well, those first few scenes where he's just having a monologue, and then like he's saying the criminals fear him, and then like there's criminals doing these bad, crimes and stuff, and then they just see the darkness, and then this one scene where his can rolls into the darkness, and then he just fears it's Batman, and he just starts running, but like Batman isn't even there. Like, it just shows how feared he is, how badass he really is. And then when he finally appears, oh my gosh, that was chilling because it is so good. It's when a gang of criminals start beating up this old innocent man, and then all of a sudden you hear sounds in the darkness, and then you see him just slowly approach, and then he just beats up all of them, and it was just an amazing entrance. I also didn't mind the broody Bruce at all. I saw other reviewers like Jeremy Johns and Moist Critical having problems with him, but in my opinion, I feel like the broody Bruce fits the whole tone of the movie. Like, it is such a dark toned movie, and I feel like if you just implement Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne into this movie, he'll just stick out like a sore thumb. He just doesn't really fit then, and I feel like this kind of emo Bruce Wayne really fits the movie, because everyone else is miserable in the movie, even like the bad guys. I don't know, it just felt like it was a perfect fit. Another aspect that was so great about the movie that not many people have actually been talking about is the Riddler. I felt like he was so genuinely terrifying and so conniving. The best way to say what makes this movie great is that it provides us with a type of Batman movie that hasn't actually been done before, and that's a Batman detective movie. It takes you on a whole psychological crime thriller adventure, and it's just so gripping through the whole movie. It feels like you as the audience was just trying to solve each clue the Riddler left with Batman. Another great scene I want to talk about is the final scene, the confrontation scene with Riddler and the Batman when the Riddler's going, Bruce. That was really chilling stuff. And the whole scene was just a nail-biting, edge of the seat type of moment. And it seemed like the Riddler actually knew Bruce, and then all of a sudden, halfway through his monologue, he just says, he's the only one we didn't get. And he's referring to Bruce here. And you could just see the relief, and like, Batman almost actually looked excited when he heard that. I don't know, it was just a really subtle thing that I liked. And I feel like not many people actually got it. Many people actually thought, hey, Riddler actually does know, and it didn't really catch on to that. And I don't know, I just thought it was great. Also, can we talk about one thing in the movie? And that's Batman's kill counter. Like, there was no rule about Batman not killing. Like, that chase sequence when he just blows up a few trucks with innocent people. Like, that was just, he probably killed like 5 people there. It was really bad. And then like that entrance scene when he fights that gang, like he beats up that first dude, and then like the dude's already knocked out, and he's just still punching his head in on the floor. Like, I'm pretty sure that guy would have died. Alright, so naturally this movie is going to draw a lot of questions to if it's better than the other Batman movies. And in my opinion, I still prefer the Christopher Nolan movies. But to be honest, each movie just has their own style. Like I said before, this movie is more of a detective type movie, more psychological, and it's more focused on a younger Batman. since it has only been 2 years. And in The Dark Knight Rises, Alfred states that Bruce has taken 8 years off. So it really highlights like how, like, the time difference. And you can really see this Bruce, he's a very young type of Bruce. He needs to mature into that type of playboy persona so no one can kind of catch on to his identity. You could also see when he's like coming off the rooftop, it was like an actual parachute type of wing thing, and he hits a bridge. Like, it shows he's very inexperienced still, and he still needs to grow. And I think we're gonna get that throughout more movies to come, and he's gonna grow into those more mature type Batman things like we see in the Christopher Nolan movies. Alright, I just kind of want to end it on, hey, look, Spider-Man No Way Home brought in the 3 Spider-Mans before. We've seen 3 Batmans, actually 4 if you really include the old ones. And hey, could we see a multiversal Batmans? I don't know. I don't know if it would be a good or bad thing. I don't know if DC's that type of like franchise to kind of do that stuff. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say for the movie. I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was a great watch. I highly recommend it if you still haven't watched it. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this movie. It was great. Thank you guys. Drop a like and a sub, and just remember, this is my opinion, so if you disagree with it, just relax. It is just my opinion. Alright, thank you.